Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name's Renee. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I appreciate you being here. Today I am doing a collab with Mountain Witch Christine. Both her and I have had thyroid journeys, and when I was going through like planning my surgery and everything, Christine messaged me on Instagram and was, asking me questions about my journey and telling me about hers. And then she was like, do you want to do a collab where we can talk about, how we got diagnosed and what led up to it and things like that. So today we're just going to do a look for thyroid disease, hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease. So if you want to hear my journey, I hope that you'll stick around and hang out with me for a little bit, and I will leave Christine linked down below so that you can go check out her video after we're done here. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I'm going to use my Kaleidos, and this is Futurism 5, I think, and this is what it looks like. I got this one and two other ones from my bestie, Flawed and Fabulous, but there are some beautiful blues in here. And before I get into that, I just want to read this off to you. I'm going to give you my journey. Everybody's journey is different. What different people experience is going to be different. So I'm just sharing how I found out about mine, what kind of symptoms and things I had, because there's a whole big list of symptoms that you can have, but not everybody's going to have all of them. You might just have a few. You could have all of them. Everybody's different. Everybody's bodies are different. So I had hyperthyroidism. The overproduction of a hormone by the butterfly-shaped gland in the neck, thyroid. So it's like right in this area here. Hyperthyroidism is the production of too much thyroxine hormone. It can increase metabolism. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this palette while I start talking about this. Back in 2019, my older sister, Michelle, had passed away, and my sister, Brandy, and I planned a trip to go down to San Diego, which is where she lived with her husband. I'm trying to figure out a brush. I'm going to use this brush right here. So we went down for a week, my sister and I, and when we got back, I think it was maybe just a couple days after I got back, I started feeling not so good. I started feeling kind of sick. Kind of like how allergies present themselves. Like I felt real stuffy in my sinuses, and like right here I had a headache. I was getting really short of breath, like when I would go upstairs and stuff like that. The shortness of breath was crazy. And I also had a lot of insomnia. Like literally, guys, I'm telling you, I could not sleep. As tired as I was, I could not sleep. So after dealing with it for a few days, I called to try and make an appointment with my regular doctor, but she didn't have any openings. So I went to urgent care. And when I went to urgent care, I told him exactly what I was dealing with and how I was feeling and stuff like that. This is really, do you see that? Really powdery. But I told him everything that was going on with me, and they said that it sounded like allergies. So they gave me Flonase and told me to use the Flonase, and I got Benadryl and I was taking that. And at first I thought maybe it was helping a little bit because it kind of seemed like I might be feeling a little bit better. But then, that was only for like a couple days or whatever. So I tried getting into my doctor again, and she didn't have any openings. I did schedule an appointment with her but it was like 2 weeks down the road, and I didn't want to wait that long. So I went back to urgent care and I said, I'm still feeling this way. And they told me again that it sounded like allergies. And I'm like, okay, but like nothing that I'm doing is helping. You know what I mean? I was still feeling, you know, really crappy, and I was really irritable too. Like my mood swings were like insane, you guys. Like, and you can imagine, like, you're tired, but you can't sleep. Like I literally would get maybe an hour and a half of sleep a night. And this went on, I want to say, for over a month before I found out what was going on with me. So I was super tired, you know, and all this stuffiness and like, it was just, when you feel shitty for such a long time and everybody's telling you it's one thing and nothing that you're doing is fixing it, you know what I mean? Like it was getting really frustrating. And mood swings and irritation is a symptom of hyperthyroidism. So, you know, that definitely was going on with me. So I just did what they told me at urgent care and was doing the, you know, Flonase and Benadryl and trying everything I could until I could get in to see my regular doctor. And when I finally got into my regular doctor, as soon as she walked in to the room when I was there, she was like, wow, you lost a lot of weight. And that's another sign. See, I had just gone through like separation and divorce the year before. So I had lost a lot of weight after that because I was depressed and I wasn't eating. I would come home and I would feed my son and I would just lay on the couch and I just wasn't eating a lot. So I thought a lot of my weight loss was because of that. And then when she came in and said that I looked like I had lost a lot of weight, that kind of like scared me a little bit because there was a lot of people at work that were making comments like about my weight loss and stuff. And so it was starting to get really frustrating. And then having my doctor notice it like that was also like, then it really made me think like, is something wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like, I just got a little bit scared. And so I was explaining to her that I had gone to urgent care and how I was feeling. And then she was kind of like, allergies. And I was like, but I've been taking allergy medicine and it's not helping. I was like, can you like test me just, you know, to be sure that that's what's going on? And I don't know why, like she said, the first thing that she came to her mind was, I'll test your thyroid. And I was like, okay. I knew nothing about thyroids or what they do. I had like literally no idea what the hell a thyroid even was, what it does, anything. So she had me do some blood work, and then I want to say the next day, because that day it was my day off, and then I was off the next day. The next day I got a message in my like patient portal thing. She sent me a message and she's like, I know why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. And she said, you have hyperthyroidism. You have a hyperthyroid. She's all, if you're getting any kind of shortness of breath or a high heart rate, go to urgent care right away. And I had been. I was getting shortness of breath. You know, I felt kind of like anxiety, anxious all the time, like, you know what I mean? Like when you're amped up on caffeine a lot or something like that. And you're just like, Sudafed does that to me. Sudafed, if I take, that's why I never take, I took Sudafed one time and I'll never take it again because I literally felt like my heart was going to jump out of my chest, you know? And it's like, you're constantly like fidgety, you know? It's so hard to explain, but I mean, that's the best that I can explain how it feels. So as soon as I read that, I got in my car and went to urgent care, and they hooked me up to the EKG things they put on, and they took more blood work while I was there. And my heart rate was pretty high. So while I was there, because I explained to them that I had gone to my regular doctor told me I had hyperthyroidism, that if I was having these type of symptoms to come into urgent care. So I gave them all the information that I had. my heart rate was really high. So they put me on metoprolol, which metoprolol is to help keep your heart rate down. And I believe I was on the metoprolol maybe for about a year or so before they took me off of that, because they would monitor my heart rate from time to time. You know, I even had to go to, I think it was Walgreens I went to, and they have these like little things where you can check your heart rate. So I had to keep an eye on it and make sure that it wasn't like super high, because if it got high, I was going to have to, you know, go see the doctor again. But they put me on the metoprolol for my heart, and then they put me on methimazole. And I think at first they started me, I think it was on 10 milligrams. So it was like 2 pills. And I think at first I took one in the morning and one at night. Don't quote me on it because it's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure it was one in the morning and one at night that I was taking. And the metoprolol, I think it was just one a day that I took for that. And then I got a referral from my doctor to see a endocrinologist, and an endocrinologist is like, they're the ones that specialize in thyroid issues. So I set up an appointment with that specialist. And what else? I'm trying to remember everything. You know, if I mess up a little bit, I apologize, but I'm trying to remember everything to the best of my ability. They do have you come in and do blood work like every 6 months, just to keep an eye on it's your TSH, your T3, and your T4 is what they check when they check your thyroid. But anyway, so I had my appointment with my endocrinologist, and she told me that the reason that I had hyperthyroidism is because I have what's called Graves' disease. And I'll read you a little bit of what Graves' disease is. Graves' disease is an autoimmune disorder that affects the thyroid gland, leading to hyperthyroidism. So that's why my thyroid was overactive, because I have Graves' disease. According to the Cleveland Clinic, Graves is actually the most common cause of hyperthyroidism, and it can often result in an enlarged thyroid gland. It has been estimated that 1 out of every 100 Americans suffer from Graves' disease. So the reason that I have hyperthyroidism is because I have Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disease, and there is no cure for it. I'm trying to find my brush. Where is my brush? I'll just use this one. From there on, I was going in to see the endocrinologist. They also had me go in to get ultrasound, because they wanted to look at my thyroid, and on the ultrasound they saw nodules, which it's very common for, from what I read, it's very common for people to have nodules on their thyroid, and not all of them are dangerous. Some of them don't even go notice. Some people will probably live their whole lives and not know that they have nodules on their thyroid. But because I have Graves' disease that causes my thyroid to be hyperactive, and I'm on medication and I have the nodules, they want to keep an eye on it. So I would have to go in, I think I went in, I want to say 4 times to get ultrasounds. They also had me go in one time to get a biopsy, which you go in and they put like a needle into your, they stick it through your like neck here, and they just kind of like do the biopsy. They pull out a little bit of fluid from the nodule and test it to see if it's cancerous, and that came back fine. They have you do the blood work to keep an eye on your levels, and the ultrasounds. And I think the last ultrasound that I had, because what they do is they do the ultrasound and they measure the nodules. And then when you go back and have another ultrasound, they measure the nodules and they compare them to the last one. So I think it was like 3 or 4 that I've had. And the last ultrasound that I had, when they were checking the size of the nodules, the one on the left side in the middle, because I had 3 on the left, 3 on the right. On the left side, their nodule in the middle had grown in size. So that's why I ended up having to go in and have my surgery, because the surgeon, they would have just kept an eye on it and done a biopsy and not had done the surgery had I not had Graves' disease. But because I have Graves' disease, it was his recommendation that I just get the left side removed, because that's the only side where the nodule had increased in size. And if you guys saw my Get Ready With Me Wednesday, you know that the test came back benign. So everything was good with that. It did take it did take a good amount of time for me to start feeling normal after taking the medication, you know, and I kept, you know, emailing my doctor and talking to my endocrinologist. And like in the middle of all of this, my company switches medical insurance. So I have my regular doctor and I have my endocrinologist, and you know, we've got a good plan and everything. And then my company switches from Group Health, well, Kaiser, to Primera. So now I had to go find a new regular doctor. And with the regular doctor, then I had to get a referral to get another endocrinologist. So, you know, like, it's crazy, you know, when you have to switch in the middle of, because I had literally just found out, because I believe it was, I want to say March of 2019, March or April when I found out of 2019. And then it was September of 2019 when I found out my medical insurance was switching. So it's like you have to start all over again. And then you go see the doctors and they're like, how come you're here? Well, did they not send you my medical records? You know what I mean? It was a very frustrating time. And I was really nervous because of my medication and everything like that. So like before they actually switched my medical insurance, I made sure to go in to see my regular doctor and my endocrinologist one more time before they switched, because they could give me my medication prescriptions and hold me over until I was able to get into new doctors and start, you know, getting care with them. And I was still on the methimazole. And when I saw the new endocrinologist, he decreased my my methimazole because my levels were getting better. And they say that when you're on the medication, if your levels test where they're supposed to be, like when they're in normal range for a certain amount of time, they consider you to be in remission. So he had, I think I was taking, they took me down to 5 milligrams, and then they took me down to half, which was 2.5 milligrams. And then I think I was on, I want to say I was on the methimazole for 2 years, because my endocrinologist just took me off of the methimazole maybe 6 months ago, I want to say. So yeah, it was about 2 years I was on it, because he said that my levels were good for a long enough period of time that I didn't have to take the medication anymore. I will be going in again. Like my surgeon says I don't need an endocrinologist anymore, my ear, nose, and throat, because that's who does the surgery. The ear, nose, and throat doctors are the surgeons that remove thyroids. He says that I don't need an endocrinologist anymore, which is pretty cool. I mean, hopefully I won't have any further problems now that I've had my half of the thyroid removed. But he does want me to come in and get blood work, and I'm sure I'm going to have to go in from time to time to get blood work so they can monitor how I'm doing, because with only half my thyroid, there's a chance that I might have to be on medication. There's a chance I might not have to, but they're going to want to keep an eye on it because things can change, you know, especially, you know, because I've been going through menopause. You know, I was going through premenopause and then menopause, and I'm sure, you know, that doesn't help with like your hormone levels and stuff. And like I had no idea that your thyroid, like, controls all that it does. Like, I mean, it literally keeps your body level. Like, this little thing, like, produces hormones that just, like, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's crazy, all this stuff. And then, like, through this whole process, like, not through having hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease, but through the surgery process, finding out there's, like, so many people in my family that have suffered with this too, because when I got diagnosed, they had asked me if I had a history of thyroid disease, and I was like, not that I know of, you know, because I had never heard of anybody in my family that had dealt with it, you know what I mean? And even if I had seen anything, you know, maybe I didn't remember, or because I had no idea what a thyroid was, you know, until all of this. So, like, it's just, like, crazy, the things that you find out. And everybody's journey with this will be different, and everybody's side effects. Like, for a while, like, sometimes I get my legs, my muscles will get, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you've been working out and your muscles are really sore, but I haven't. And so, like, my muscles in my legs will feel like I went out on a run or went working out, you know. They'll get really, really sore. So, you know, and I'm sure there's other things that I've had that I didn't, like, really notice so much, that was probably, you know, side effects from having the Graves' disease and the hyperthyroidism, you know what I mean? So, like, it's been a journey, you guys. And it's really crazy to hear other people's journeys and what they've gone through. Like, when I first found out too, like, I went onto Facebook, and there's a group for people who suffer with hyperthyroidism, and they can kind of share their journeys, you know. So when I first got diagnosed, I went on there, and, like, you have to be really careful though, because sometimes they share their journeys, and it, like, kind of scares you, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of freaks you out when they're talking about, I don't know, there's just, like, a lot of different people that suffer a lot of different ways and have a lot of different symptoms and stuff. And, you know, and there's people, like, they have this, I think it's radioactive iodine. I didn't even put concealer on. Oh, well. Oh, well. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. So I guess it'll be okay not to put concealer. But anyways, everybody's different and their journeys are different, but it can, like, freak you out a little bit when you're a part of that group, and you hear other people's journeys and what they've suffered with. And there was people that said that they went into remission and then they came out of remission. And, you know, there's this radioactive iodine thing that you can take, and basically what I understand from it is it's this pill that you take, and it kills your thyroid. And then you have to be on hormone medication for the rest of your life to keep your, you know, TSH and T3 and T4, whatever it is, keep all of that normal. And that scared me, because people were telling stories about the radioactive iodine pill, and when you take it, you can't be around people for a certain amount of time, because you have this radiation, and so you wouldn't be able to be around your kids or your family or anybody for, I think it's like a week. I think some people said 2 weeks, but I don't really know, because I didn't have to do that, and that wasn't something that I would want to do. You know what I mean? I would rather have my thyroid removed than do that radioactive thing. You know what I mean? Just the thought of it kind of scared me. And then, you know, not being able to be around anybody for that amount of time, just, like, I can't not be around my son. What am I going to do? Go get a hotel room for a week because we live in the same house? You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have worked out for me at all to do that. So that would have never been an option. It was never an option that was given to me either, which I'm thankful for, because Well, like I said, I would have said no anyway. There's no way I would have done it. I think I'm going to use this Natasha Denona Cupid Cheek Duo Cream Blush and Highlighter. I believe I got this in a Bizy Beauty Customs PR box. And I've been cleaning my room and decluttering stuff, and I found this and it was still in the box. Hasn't even been used yet, and that's what it looks like. So how do I apply this? I guess I can use a sponge, right? But yeah, so when I would read like posts of things that people went through, it like kind of scared me and freaked me out a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it, you know, you already don't know what's going on with you. I mean, you know, like I knew I had Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism, but I didn't like know a lot about it. And so I'm reading this stuff for people who have been dealing with it, and it's like it kind of freaks you out. But you like, I should have just not let it like affect me, you know what I mean? Take everything with a grain of salt, because just because their journey was a certain way doesn't mean your journey's going to be that way. You know what I'm saying? So like, just because somebody had cancer, or somebody had to have their entire thyroid removed, or just because somebody had to do the radioactive iodine, or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that you're going to suffer the same fate. So don't let things like that scare you. But now that I've had my surgery, and I think it's been a little over 2 weeks since I had the left side of my thyroid removed, and I'm feeling really good. You know, I feel like if my levels were like out of whack, that I would be suffering like I did before. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm going to go in with this Deep Throat NARS blush. I feel like that you know your own body. You know what I mean? And like, while it took me a little bit to figure out what was going on, it could have taken a lot longer. It was literally just like a little bit over a month before I found out. Thank God I had the doctor that I did. And thank God that I advocated for myself when I went in to see my regular doctor. Because when I went to urgent care, it was kind of hard, like, you know what I mean, to advocate. But with my regular doctor, I felt very comfortable with her, and I felt very comfortable to ask her, because anytime that I ever felt concerned about something and I let her know how I was feeling, she would order tests to get me checked to put my mind at ease, because she knew I was scared and how I get my anxiety about stuff like that. So like, as soon as I asked her, where is my angled brush? There it is. So as soon as I asked her if she could test me for something else just to make sure, she's like, yeah, for sure. You know, and if had I not advocated for myself for her to do that, who knows how long I would have continued to feel that way, you know? So if you're feeling a certain way and you're going to the doctor and they're telling you one thing and you're treating yourself for that one thing, but you're not feeling better, push your doctors. Literally, to find out about your thyroid, it's just a blood test. It is literally just a blood test. You know, and if you take anything out of this, is information of things that can happen to you. Like, I'll pull it up and I'll read you the symptoms of hyperthyroidism. Graves' disease doesn't really have symptoms, and so you would never know until the Graves' disease affects your thyroid and causes the hyperthyroidism, which causes all the issues that you have, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hope that I'm explaining all of this and you understand. But like I said, the basics of it is to advocate for yourself. And if you're feeling a certain kind of way, then make sure that you tell your doctor that you want, you know, blood tests and stuff. You know, like there was stuff I was worried about, like with my lungs and with my heart. And so And my mom had a heart attack at 49, and she had high cholesterol. So that is stuff I tell my doctor, and they check it every year. They do my blood work, and they check my cholesterol. They do EKGs to check my heart rate. They do blood work to check for diabetes, because my mom always told me she was borderline diabetic, which she had to give herself shots in her stomach. So I don't know exactly what borderline diabetic means, or if that's even a thing. But, you know, they test me for that stuff. And, you know, you should also be diligent and, you know, find out from your family members about things that they might have that, you know, might be something that you need to keep an eye on. So let me pull this up real quick so that I can kind of read you off. So these are the side effects that you could, people may experience: whole body, excess sweating, excessive hunger, fatigue, heat intolerance, or restlessness, mood swings, nervousness, panic attacks. And I had a couple panic attacks that, like, I would have never even known that it had anything to do with that. I just thought maybe I was, you know, because the divorce and all of that stuff that I was going through, that's why I was maybe feeling, you know, anxious and stuff all the time. Abnormal heart rhythm, fast heart rate or palpitations, difficulty falling asleep or insomnia, menstrual irregular menstruation or short and light menstruation, hyperactivity or irritability, abnormal protrusion of eyes or puffy eyes. Hello. Also common: weight loss, diarrhea, hair loss, muscle weakness, tremors, or warm skin. So those are all things that could be other things, but it could also be your thyroid. You know what I mean? And how are you going to know until you get checked? So, like I said, it's an easy blood test. So if you ever are feeling those kinds of, you know, symptoms, like where you're having a hard time sleeping, or you're feeling really anxious or irritable, or, you know, you're having these things and you're going to the doctor, if they haven't checked your thyroid, have them check your thyroid. It's a simple blood test. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so grateful that my doctor, like, that was the first thing that she thought to check was my thyroid. There's also another thing that I heard was, like, your ears ringing can also be, like, a side effect of hyperthyroidism. And hypothyroidism can be, like, the same thing except for the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So instead of amping everything up, it slows everything down. So, you know, you would get, like, maybe sleeping too much and weight gain, things like that. You know, it's kind of like the same, but the opposite experience, if that makes sense. What am I doing here? All right, let me get some mascara. I'm going to get my fortifying lashes. I mean, that's basically my journey. I don't know if I remembered every little thing to share with you guys about my journey finding out that I have thyroid disease. And there's other things. There's what's it called? Hashimoto's. There's something called Hashimoto's. I'm not exactly sure all the details of that, but what I'll do is I'll look up some stuff and I'll leave it linked down in the description box for you guys so that you can do, like, your own research. And like I said, like, everybody's different, and just because you might be suffering from some of these things doesn't necessarily mean you have thyroid disease, but it also doesn't mean that you don't. And so if I can say anything, because this is Thyroid Awareness Month, is January, and there's all kinds of different ribbons for thyroid. You know, like, there's thyroid cancer, there's hyperthyroidism, there's hypo, there's Hashimoto's, there's, you know what I mean? And there's different months of awareness for the different things that contribute to thyroid disease. But January is Thyroid Awareness Month. And so I thought it was really cool that Christine had asked me if I wanted to do this collab with her, considering it is Thyroid Awareness Month. And if we can bring awareness about this to you guys out there so that you can be a little proactive with your health, then I think that's a good thing, right? You know, like, you can't take everything that I say as holy grail, you know what I mean? Like, oh, everything she's saying I'm dealing with, and so that must mean I have, you know, hyperthyroidism or Graves' disease or this or that. Like, no, not necessarily. I'm just bringing awareness to things to be aware of when your body is acting a certain way, and to make sure that, you know, if your doctor has checked for this, this, and this, and they didn't check for thyroid disease, make sure they check for that as well, because it's a simple blood test that could help you find out what you're struggling with, and you can get on medication to get it fixed. You know, I know a lot of people don't like to go to the doctor and stuff like that, but for me, I go every year. I go and get my checkups every year because I feel like it's important to stay on top of your health. And if you don't, my dad never went to the doctor. You know, like, for years he never went to the doctor. And then something pops up, he goes to the doctor and he finds out he has cancer. You know what I mean? Like, and he's okay right now, but my whole thing is, like, he could not have been, because he put his health on the back burner and was like, well, I don't want to go to the doctor because they're telling me to go do this and this and this, and I'm not going to do it. And then all of a sudden something pops up that if you would have been going to the doctor and doing what your doctor suggested, you could have found out about it before it started causing problems, and you could, you know, be on top of it. You know, had I known that there was people in my family that had that had thyroid disease, I would have had my doctor check my thyroid every year. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been something I would have put on the list. Like, my mom had a heart attack, had high cholesterol, had high blood pressure, had diabetes. So those are all things that I told my doctor so that she can check them every year. And had I known about the thyroid disease, I would have told my doctor, and that would have been on the list of things that she kept an eye on every year. And maybe if I would have been doing that, maybe I would have never had to suffer for the month and a half that I was with everything that I went through, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like health is important, and I know people don't want to, you know, it's like, I'm going to be 50 and I've had a colonoscopy before, but when you turn 50 and older, it's like something that you're supposed to do like every 10 years, you know? And I know people are like, well, I'm not going to do it. So you want to wait until it's a problem and then have to go through all these tests instead of just staying on top of it and then it getting to a point where you can't fix it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't, I don't personally understand that. And I think some people think that doing the tests and stuff are going to cause the problems. And I trust my doctor 110%. I trusted my old doctor and I trust my new doctor. And I know that she would never do anything to put me in harm's way. And if I'm ever feeling anxious or unsure or scared, she will order tests for me. Like, I was nervous about getting short of breath, and because my thyroid levels were fine, she was saying it wasn't my thyroid. So she had me go in to get x-rays of my lungs, because I was a little nervous that maybe because I smoked for so many years, maybe something's wrong with my lungs, and that's why I'm getting short of breath. You know what I mean? And I want to know so that hopefully it's early enough for me to fix it. You know what I mean? I don't want to wait until it's too late for me to do anything about it. So I feel like, you know, you have to be proactive when it comes to your health, and you have to advocate for yourself. And if you feel scared about something or unsure, then you know, tell your doctor and be like, I really would like to, you know, have some extra blood work done. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's just how I feel. I feel like your health is very important and that you should stay on top of it. And if a medical professional that has gone to school for this stuff tells you that you should go in and get this test or that test, then why would you not listen to them? You know what I mean? They went to school for this. Why would they tell you to go do this stuff if it was dangerous for you? In my opinion, I don't think my doctors would do that to me. You know, I don't. And I feel like they're just trying to help me be as healthy as I can. And they go in and do those tests too. They go in and get colonoscopies and stuff like that to stay on top of their health as well. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts and opinions. What is this? This is Basic Beauty. What shade? I'm not sure. It's a lip liner in Basic. Basic is the shade. I think I got this in an ice cream beauty box. It's a pretty shade. And then I have this Basic Beauty. I think this is Basic. It's in the shade Basic, which goes with that lip liner. So I'm going to use this. Ew. That is pretty. Ooh, that smells good. Get a little bit of sparkle up here with this shade in this palette. Ooh, that's so pretty. So pretty. Alrighty guys, so this is my look using my Colitis palette that I got from my bestie, Flawed and Fabulous. Look at that. Stunning, stunning, stunning. So I used this in the crease as a transition shade. This one on the outer V, and I also used it on the lower lash line. And then I used this to blend out the lower lash line. I used this on my lid, and then I used this on the inner corner and also on the brow bone. What do you guys think? I think it's a beautimous palette. I haven't gotten these ones in my declutter yet. I still got like a ton of palettes sitting on my bed right now that I need to go through. So I don't know, now that I've used this one, I don't think I want to get rid of it. It's beautiful. Definitely performs really well. I don't see, I mean, it's a little like powdery, but it still like lays down really well. I don't see any patchiness or anything, and the lid shade is beautiful. All right, guys, this video is like 45 minutes long. Hopefully I can cut it down a little bit, but I just, you know, thank you, Christine, for inviting me to do a collab with you about this, because I feel like being that it's January and it's Thyroid Awareness Month and everything that I just went through, that it's really important to share my story and kind of what I went through. And I feel like it's really important for you to share yours as well, so that people can kind of be aware of things to watch out for and be on top of. But yeah, thank you, Christine, so much for doing this with me. It means a lot. And thank you for always reaching out to me and checking on me and you know, just being so kind through this whole process with me. It really means a lot. And yeah, so anyways, if you're new here, guys, I hope that you will join Nene's Glam Squad. Just go down below, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, guys, like totally free. Turn up the notification bell. That way you can get notified of any and all future uploads. If you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, it would really mean a lot to me. It helps out my channel. Lets YouTube know that you enjoy seeing my content, and leave a comment, say hi, and let me know that you stopped by. You know, and also, if you wouldn't mind, go down below, hit on Christine's link and go check out her video and see about her journey, because her journey is way different than mine. Her experience is way different than mine. So it's kind of good to get two different perspectives and things that have happened to us in different ways, because everybody's journey is going to be different. And just because this is my journey doesn't mean it's going to be yours. But advocate for yourself in your healthcare, guys. Be aware of things and make sure you tell your doctor that you want them to do extra blood tests. You know what I mean? Just to check. It doesn't hurt to check and be sure that there's nothing else going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do. When my doctors see that I'm nervous or I'm feeling anxious about something, they will refer me to get other tests done to make sure and put my mind at ease so that I'm not scared or freaking out. You know what I mean? Because, you know, being stressed out and scared and having your anxiety go through the roof can not be good for your health as well. So, you know, if they can do something to kind of minimize that, then, you know, why wouldn't they? But I'm going to let you guys go. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you all have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this. I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay warm, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.